Oh hey guys, so on this week's episode of Make It with Calvin, we're doing things a little bit differently here. I'm out here at Travel Town in Griffith Park in Los Angeles, California. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about how I go through the design process for the train models that you've seen me do on Make It with Calvin. So let's dive into it. So obviously when it comes to making models, there's a bunch of ways to do it. You can either do it based off of the full-size dimensions of the model, or you can do a scaled version of it that has what I like to call the essence of the model. That's more of the style that I like to use, and that's definitely how me and Scott have come up with the kinds of crazy bashes and locomotives that we've done. We saw a photo of something that looked cool, we decided we were going to do something based off of that, and what happened from there was really this organic process of literally combining parts together to come up with the final product. And I got some footage of that right here that you guys can check out. This is literally unscripted. I literally just told Scott, when things get good, I'm pulling out the camera and we're filming, and well, that's literally what happened. So sit back and enjoy a little bit of our process. You know darn well I'd build one of those guys. that would look really good switching to mine. And then when you compare the size of that to our existing one,
yeah, it's quite a lot smaller.
It is. So you guys can see, it is a lot shorter. And then since we've removed the front pilot area, and that guy would stick out at least to where my finger is, yeah, that would work great for somebody who has like a switching layout or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you can buy one of those trench locomotives for 4 times as much money.
Yeah. And you're stuck with the tanks that have the electronics inside, so
yeah,
good luck.
You can't remove them. I mean, you see plenty of them where the windows are just about blocked off.
Yeah.
But most of the time you see pretty much a continuous curve rather than a sharp break.
Yeah, I can modify that for sure in the file.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that would be not the most conducive for strength. So. Okay, so in an ideal world, I would have the actual models, like in this case, this Oahu Railway passenger car, to model off of, but the reality is I don't have that. Or take, for example, this really cool Pacific Electric locomotive right here. Ideally, I'd have models like that to work off of. I could get real-life physical dimensions from, but that's not always the case. So usually what I'll end up doing is finding a historical image of something and working off of that, which is a lot harder. So you have to kind of scale things and go, okay, well, you've got a doorway here, so the average doorway's got to be X number of feet tall, the window's going to be so big, the car's going to be so big for clearance reasons, things like that. Now, when I do have access to an actual physical model I can take dimensions off of, it's a lot easier, but it also is still somewhat tricky because a lot of what I do has to be custom made for the application. So that makes things a lot trickier because obviously there's only so many sizes of locomotives available under frames, and I don't want to get into a whole rigmarole of trying to build custom stuff. That's just a big old nightmare. Now, if you were to try and do, say, this interesting interurban car here, you know, the sheer size of the thing becomes a significant issue for clearances and things like that, so just keep that in mind as well. And that being said, you can very easily scale something like this down to fit your models, and there are some people who will do one-to-one models of them, but the thing that I appreciate about the scale that a model being 0-30 is the fact that we have a lot of leeway. Obviously, they probably did not really have any 30-inch narrow gauge steeple cabs, but you know what? Why not make your own? It says you can't. So yeah, that's pretty much the nutshell of how I do things. Now, all that being said, we definitely have limitations when it comes to building our models. We obviously have to deal with things such as clearances, available equipment, chassis, electronics, motors, things like that. So there's definitely certain things that you see in real life that we cannot duplicate in one-to-one for the models that you see, but on the other hand, we can definitely do a lot about it. Now, that being said, if I were to try and do, say, a one-to-one copy of this caboose or this boxcar, we might actually run into clearance issues on our layouts, so you definitely have to keep that in mind as well. The Yosemite short line, which I run on, definitely has much tighter clearances than most layouts, because back in the day when it was built, the equipment people were running was not the same as today, and we definitely have to pretty much design our equipment around it. But in the real narrow gauge world that we model, that actually was done. A lot of equipment was custom made to fit the application. So there's just something to keep in mind there. Now, that being said, when it comes to building the models, the big thing is making it look right. You can do a scale model of something that's one-to-one scale, and it can be beautiful. I've seen some, they're amazing. But at the same time, you kind of have to also realize that a rivet that might be 2 inches in real life, scaled to, say, 1/48 or 1/87 scale, or even smaller, you're not going to see the thing. So you either have to scale the size up on it, or just decide not to include it because, well, nobody's going to see it in all practicality's sake. This is what I like to call scale fudging, and we do it a heck of a lot on our models. What might be scaled down perfectly from the real size, when you actually are kind of messing around with it, you'll go, yeah, that doesn't work. We'll adjust things like that. Also, minimum specs for, say, 3D printing or photo etching or things like that definitely apply. I definitely have pushed the minimums on Sculpteo and gotten lucky and had a couple unlucky times, but you know what? It's just all a part of the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my time here at Travel Town, getting all kinds of great modeling ideas. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you here next time on Make It with Cal.